We've been trying different approaches to technology and assessment for many years, initially without much success. In fact, our first tests were attempted in 1978 when we created some questions on A-level physics which ran on a Commodore PET, which some people may remember as a very early desktop computer. Our first success came in 1989 when we did on-screen aptitude tests for the new city technology colleges, which were set up by the government at the time with a view to introducing more technology into education. On that occasion the interaction was through a touch screen, and the tests worked very well for the purpose for which they were created. The key benefits of technology in assessment can be looked at in two ways: the benefit to the awarding body and the benefit to the learner. As far as the awarding body are concerned, there are major efficiencies in handling data, major efficiencies in managing paper document production, in the marking processes, and in the case of on-screen assessment, the complete elimination of paper and major reductions in marking costs. Clearly there are efficiencies in marking. Marking can be done in a traditional way, but on screen by an examiner. But in many instances the marking can be automatic, making significant savings. When ready testing is possible, so that candidates can take tests when they feel they are ready. And although this is a contentious issue, it is emerging more and more as an important aspect of testing, especially in the vocational arena. And finally, the possibility of much higher quality questions, taking full advantage of colour and animation. Many question types are possible. Fixed response is the thing that people think about when they think about on-screen testing, but standard open response questions can be easily done on screen, and of course today's learners are used to word processing rather than writing by hand in any case. And in addition, there are advanced question types which BTL specialises in, which are simply not possible on paper. There are many test types: initial assessment, diagnostic, adaptive, formative, summative, and many features of these are also simply not possible on paper. And finally, we have different feedback types. Marks can be presented instantly rather than the learner having to wait for their marks. A test summary can be produced. The process of that the learner is going through during the assessment can be tracked, and if necessary and if required, the learner can be told where they are going wrong. And finally, it's possible to introduce a concept where the learner has a choice between, especially in a formative context, between they can try the test if they wish, or they can be guided through it, or they can be shown how to do it. None of this feedback is possible on paper, and it's a real step forward that is made possible by the technology. In addition, there are many benefits to the learner. Learners always say that instant feedback on marks is something that they really appreciate. Feedback while they're working is important because it allows them to identify the location of any mistakes they're making, rather than having to work all the way through something when they're trying to find out where they went wrong. The feedback during formative assessment can be sent direct to the learner, presented directly to the learner, rather than going, as is in most conventional formative assessment, via the teacher. And the final, perhaps the most important point, is that young learners are digital natives. They've grown up with the technology and they overwhelmingly prefer to do assessments on screen. Where's this all going to go in the future? Well, the answer is we don't know. We try it and we see. But there are some indications that assessment, learning led by assessment, is going to be increasingly important in the future. And there's some indications that mobile technology will be important. Phones come to mind immediately, but it seems quite likely that devices such as iPad will be an important presentational device.